Hi everyone, it's Sam Mackay from Enterprise DNA. Today I want to go over some information around new customer analysis. Now, not too long ago, I completed an entire session. It was a scenario method session, which is a training workshops that Enterprise DNA members can attend. And this is what we worked on. We worked on an entire solution, which encompassed many churn analytics type analysis, and including new customers, lost customers, steady customers, all of this great analytical work that you can do about your customers. Now, in this particular video, I want to break out new customers. So how do you actually calculate new customers in your reports? But just before I do that, if you do want to actually see how you could actually view this, I will leave a link below in the description, and then all you have to do is you need to look at investigating upgrading to membership if you do actually want to watch the replay and download the entire resource. But I'm going to work out new customers here, okay? So in this example, we have a whole lot of customers that we sell to, right? We have a whole range of customers. They're based in a number of different regions. They go to a number of different stores, and they buy off us. Now, it's all good. It's relatively straightforward. Understand calculating how many customers did we actually that bought of us, but we want to look in this case. Well, I wanted to analyze. Well, how many of these customers can we consider as new? Now, that in itself is an interesting question. It does pose a very interesting question if you think about it, because you can classify a customer as new in many, many different ways. Maybe you want to actually classify a customer as someone who's never bought off you since the beginning of time, so the beginning of your business. Well, that's one way that you could classify a new customer. Another way that I thought was probably more relevant in this particular case, because certainly that piece of analysis is, I would say, from the beginning of time is quite unique. But occasionally you might want to actually place some sort of time frame on it. And if a customer has not purchased in a particular window or prior window to a period of time, well, then if they come back, then you can consider them also new because you had to go and acquire them again, or you had to go and do some sort of marketing, etc., etc. So I thought that was more relevant to the example, to the demo that we went through. And I'm going to show you how I did it, how I worked out over a dynamic time frame, a dynamic window. It's not a set time window, it's dynamic. How over a dynamic time window we were able to work out, or how many customers in any particular month came back to us or were totally brand new. So a really interesting piece of analysis that I think that you will really enjoy learning how it's created. Now, what I've done, and this is where the dynamic window comes from, is I've said in this particular case, so this case we're looking at right here, right now, is if any customer has not bought off us in 90 days prior, but then have bought off us again, so they could have not bought for way more than 90 days, but it's that 90 days, the minimum window gap. If they've come back and purchased after a 90-day window, then that they are considered a new customer, that we've had to go and acquire that customer again. Now, how I created this box here was actually the new parameter, the what if parameter feature up the top in the modeling ribbon here. And so I created a really simple table, and I'll show you. It's basically just numbers. So you can also utilize this formula here. You can put it into a new table, and this will automatically generate a number of days. Now, what I can do with this is I can actually extend the window. So, if we wanted to increase the time window that we would consider someone new, we could input that there. We could go to a year, or we could even go to a shorter time frame as well. So it totally depends on the business, right? Some businesses might have a much greater sale period, to get to onboard someone versus a retail store who might want to, or an online retailer who might want to sell to someone every 30 days. So for example, Amazon, if you didn't purchase from Amazon for 90 days or 180 days, they maybe consider you a lost customer, and then they send out all this marketing, and then it costs them more to acquire you back. So it's an interesting concept, and something that you really have to think deeply about anyway. Okay, so how do we actually calculate this? This is the key thing about this video that I wanted to show. So let's just run through this formula here. Now, it's really interesting. Lots of interesting concepts going on in here, okay? Now, the main overall concept is that we are I guess, banging or joining, comparing two virtual tables in the current context. Okay, now we've logically gone through what we're actually trying to analyze, and basically that's what we're trying to implement in this formula. We're trying to say, using the accept function, we're trying to find which customers in any particular month have not purchased off us for at least 90 days in this case, okay? At least 90 days, because that is what the input value currently is inside, well, actually it's 30, but we'll change it to 90. That is what the input value is currently in the calculation. So to do that, I guess we have to analyze, well, our current customers in the particular context, so who actually bought within each individual month. And then we need to compare that to who has actually bought in the past 90 days, right? So that's what we need to do. And then we need to, once we create those two tables, or those two tables that we can compare, then we need to evaluate, well, out of those customers in that prior month, which don't exist in the current month, do not exist in that time window that we're evaluating. So what we did to create a table, because we need to extract just these customers, we need to compare the two tables to then extract another table. And what's cool is we're creating two virtual tables and then creating another virtual table out of the evaluation that comes out of these two virtual tables, and then we're basically just counting up those customers at the end of the day. So I've used variables here, and I've said to calculate each individual customer, I'll just create a table of each individual customer in the particular context, in a monthly context. So each individual row here, we are using values, right? And what values does is it just creates a table of every single customer that is purchased in the particular context. Then with prior customers, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but seriously interesting. We need to calculate the customer set, right? So we still want to calculate a customer set, so using exactly the same formula, values, but instead of in the current context, we want to change the context of this evaluated table. And have you maybe heard me say that before? But what's very different about this to, say, calculate, which calculate just changes the context of the calculation, right? Well, calculate table changes the context of a table evaluation. Very interesting, right? So it changes the context of a table valuation. And evaluation, and basically that's exactly what we wanted to do, right? We need to open up this window of a time that is different to the current context. And so if you think about this result here, March 2017, we have a total of 282 customers, right? And so that's probably what the count rows of this is going to evaluate to. And you'll soon see that is actually what the formula is there. But we need to then go and evaluate, okay, a customer list, but we need to go and evaluate the customer list of all of these 3 months prior, right? So it's probably 3 months prior, so Feb 2017, Jan 2017, and probably December 2016 is what we're evaluating. And that's what this part of the calculate table formula is doing for us. It's evaluating, it's going filter all dates, so removing any context on dates, and then reapplying the filters on dates based on this time window that we have created. So that's basically the crux of the formula. We create two virtual tables which just basically run evaluation like we discussed earlier on in this video, where we're comparing our customers in the current context and seeing if they did buy in any of the prior periods that we have specified. So the time window we have specified, in this case 90 days. And then we put them inside of accept. And can you see how variables here make a massive difference? I certainly feel like variables is such a better way to write these formulas. If you think about it, how clearly it is laid out, instead of just placing this all within one formula and trying to understand everything that's going on, right? Now what accept does is it can evaluate two of these tables and then return, and accept is actually a table function, and it can return another table based on what customers are in one table but not another. Okay, And so accept in itself, very, very interesting function. This actually, once you understand it and learn it, you'll think of many, many different ways you can use it, seriously. But what we're trying to do here is compare our customers in this month, in any particular month, right? And then we're comparing those customers to the customer set that is looking over that 90-day window. And we're saying each customer that does not exist in this particular customer set, we want to keep them, okay? So we want to keep these customers in. And then so what it's going to do is it's going to evaluate every single customer, and it's going to return us a table of unique customers who are in this list but not in this list. And then once we do that, all we need to do is basically count up those customers, right? And then that is what is going to evaluate to our new customers. And so the count rows is just going to count up that unique set, and that we can then classify all of those new customers as, well, all those customers as new customers. So I might wrap it up here because I have gone a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it takes a while to explain these things, right? And I wanted to explain it very clearly so you can understand exactly how this formula works. Now, this was part of a wider session that ran for well over an hour, and ran through that in more detail, how we actually set up the model and behind the scenes, how you actually build the visualization, how you add on lost customers, how you work out new customer sales, far more things. But this is a good breakout session where we can just drill into the new customer aspect of it. But really interesting stuff, right? There's so many different great things going on to work up to this calculation, and also just the theory behind it, how you actually think of what a new customer is. And I think just even thinking about that adds a lot of value to the analysis that you're doing. Okay, all the best with this one. Take care, and look forward to bringing you more YouTube Power BI tutorials, on YouTube through Enterprise DNA TV. Certainly, if you liked the content and got a lot out of it, appreciate a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe to Enterprise DNA TV. There's plenty more content coming out very soon. Okay, all the best.